Okay, so I am starting on a 20-ounce thick today. This is going to be another Dollar Tree Experiment tumbler. I have a coat of resin on this already. That's all that's on there so far. I'm going to do the rainbow iron-on transfer. I decided a thick because the wording was just so wide. So I'm going to set that aside so I don't get it yucky. I have my heat gun ready to go. I have a bunch of Let's Resin inks ready to go. And I'm just going to use those because they're a little bit lighter. So hopefully they will work for the look I'm going for here. And I don't have a true orange in these, so I'm just gonna work my way through the colors. My cup is terribly uneven currently, but the red is kind of orangey, so I'm just gonna get them all applied and then hit it with some heat to move it around. Normally I do my rainbows on a black base, as you know. I'm not going to do that this time, obviously. I'm working on white because I want to keep the cup a little bit lighter and brighter. This was just a big set. This wasn't individual colors. And I will link to this set on Amazon down below. I haven't used these too much on tumblers, so but they are pretty colors. This is so bad on this turner. It'll be alright though. It'll be okay. I am wearing gloves because I am playing with inks, even though I am not actually hands-on with the cup. I do have to go to work soon, and I don't want to go to work covered in ink, even though I often do. This one I have not used yet, so I have to go find a pin to pop it open. If I can find one. I thought I had used them all at this point, but clearly I hadn't gotten to this one. So one thing I really don't like about these inks is having to open them up like that. I tend to make a mess of everything when I do so. I'm actually going to go ahead and put a couple drops of the pink on the bottom also, just to maybe give it something to blend to. Okay. I'm going to grab my heat gun. I use a Wagner Ferno 550. So I'm going to turn it on. This is my heat setting. This is my fan setting. And I am just going to go ahead and see if I can get this to move. I feel like I wish I'd taken that off, but now it's going to be too hot to remove, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. I do want to push some of this blue up. I feel like the greens took over a bit more than I would have liked. And I put a ton of epoxy on this to start, so a lot of it is going to run off the bottom, and I am absolutely fine with that. I want to move that bottom around a little bit. So my green took over my yellow quite a bit more than I would have liked. So I'm going to push some more yellow back through there. I mean, the green actually jumped over the red. But it is what it is. So I'm just going to put some more color back in. And then I'm going to actually pick up my turner and kind of manually move some of this. I'm just going to tilt the cup down. Bottom looks pretty cool. And I'm going to let the cup run up if it wants to. Sorry, I know all you're seeing really is the bottom of the cup. And I'm going to bring it back down again, and I'm actually going to put, it's going to be interesting one-handed. I'm actually going to bring my heat back in. While it's tilted. All right. So I'm just going to let it sit and dry and do its thing. And I'll be able to pick the side I think is ugliest, because it's going to have to get a big white paint spot for this to go over anyways, because this isn't probably going to show up on this just as is. But it's actually a little brighter than I expected it to be with these inks. But I'm overall not unhappy with it, so I'm just going to carry on with what it is. So I will be back for the next step, which will be after I've painted. I'll measure and mark where I need my white spot, and then I'm going to paint within that spot and then clean up around it. So I will be back. Okay, so this is dry and ready for the next step. It actually came out pretty cool, so I'm not really sure where I want to put my decal yet. But again, this is the decal, so I'm going to do a base of this, and then I'm going to go over it with white and put this on and like clean around the edges. So I have to pick where I want the decal to go. And to do that, I'm going to have to open it up so I can mark my cup. I'll keep the backer on it for a minute. I don't want to sit it in any of this glitter that's on my table. Just going to block it from rolling. I don't know where my gray dry erase marker is, so I'm going to mark it in pink. I think I'm going to put my decal on this side. I don't really love all of that, so I'm going to lay it where it's going to go, roughly. and I'm just going to mark a couple of spots on the sides. Top's really not going to matter because I'll just clean around it. I just mostly need to know for the side where it's going to be. So, it's marked. I'm going to go out and spray the blue, let that dry, and then spray the white, let that dry, and then I will be back to get this on. I'm going to do this right onto the spray paint. I think it's going to adhere better to the spray paint directly than to the layer of resin. So, we'll see. Right or wrong, who knows. Okay, so I am ready to put the decal on this. It's got 2 coats of the blue I showed you, and then a coat of the white over top of that. I had originally intended to use a heat gun for this, but I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and use my iron. And we'll see how that goes, because there's somebody sleeping and I don't want to use my heat gun, and I feel like it's such a big image that I might be okay just using the iron. So I'm going to try and get this lined up as straight as I can. And I cannot find my parchment paper, even though I know I have some, because I feel like this is the way this always goes. Let me pick that up a second and look at it. Alright, that's good enough. So I am going to go ahead and cover it with I was going to say with a piece of t-shirt, but I just got it wet, so I'm going to scoot it that way. So I have this warmed up, it's on cotton, and we'll see what happens. I didn't want to use t-shirt because obviously you can't see through it. You can hear it where it got wet a little bit. Hopefully that won't be a problem. And I don't know what the spray paint will do with the heat applied to it. I really have no idea. It's lifting it a little bit over the t-shirt, which is okay, hopefully. Yeah, it's gonna peel my paint. So that's a bit of a problem. It just made my paint very, very sticky. Is there a fix for that? I don't know yet. The edges aren't really a problem because they were going to be turned back to the blue anyhow. So I might have to touch up the white with a brush. Like around the word rainbow is the worst of it. Okay. So it's all off the backing. I'm not sure if that would have gone better with resin or not. I'm going to put the t-shirt back over it and just make sure it's all firmly stuck down. I don't like the t-shirt on that. And I went right under to the coating there. but I do have one little bubble in the... I don't know if this paper will stick or not. I'll find out. Oh yeah, it will. Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and unplug my iron because I am done with that. Set it aside to cool down. I'm going to get this off of my cup cradle. I have a couple other pieces of t-shirt, and I have my acetone. So I'm going to grab a small piece of t-shirt and dip it in the acetone and start removing some of the excess paint. That was quite a lot of acetone I just got there. Too much. Just gonna grab a different rag. I am fighting extreme humidity in this room this week, which is really causing me issues across the board. So that's likely part of the problem. I do want to try and leave some of that blue on the edge. Trying to get off that white overspray as well. So, come back to this side. See if I can work down to some more of that blue over here. And then I'm going to work around the top. I'm going to come pretty close to that decal, just since that got so super kind of messy. So, of the Dollar Tree decal ideas I've tried so far, this one is not my favorite, clearly. But, you know me, I'm gonna make it work. It's actually not too bad at the moment. See, I wanted this blue underneath because I thought it would match the text blue, and it does. I get a little dip again and work this bottom edge pretty close. Okay, so I am pretty good with my outer edge here. I think I'm going to clean up a little at the center of the rainbow here. Alright, so I am going to, I think, leave this stuff lightly distressed, but I'm going to go grab a couple of Q-tips so I can do a little finer distress. I will be right back. Okay, I also grabbed some white paint and a brush while I was away a minute. So, I think I'm going to work this even further in a couple of these spots. Just to really distress it. To make some of those little oopsies feel more intentional. Just really keep like working it and playing with it until you like what you have. But I don't like where the blue is showing through up tight to the letters. So that's the part I'm going to touch up with the paint. And that's blue underneath, so that's why it looks basically the same. Okay, so I'm going to first take a clean rag with a little bit of alcohol on it, because the alcohol won't be as harsh, so it'll kind of clean up the rest of that where the acetone left some, I don't really want to say debris, but I guess that's kind of the word I'm looking for. And I know I'm getting a little lint from these pieces of towel. And I do have to get some acetone across the bottom because there is some white overspray down there. And some blue. And I don't want that. So I'm going to go back over the whole cup with the acetone real quick, just to double check. Alright. And then the alcohol again. And I'm going to let this dry extremely well before I go on to the resin step. Okay, so I think I'm good there with the alcohol and the acetone. I'm going to shake up my paint and see if I can get my jar open. Yay, I can. This was the smallest brush I could find that wasn't a tiny, tiny detail brush. But I'm just going to come over, and I may grab that tiny detail brush after all. I know I just rubbed that spot into there, but I don't like it. Oh, I'm making a mess. I need that little brush. I found it. I need to be able to get in here a little bit better. This is going to end up a little textured and less than perfect, but it was an experiment. I mean, there really is a fix for just about any mistake. And if I don't already know the fix, I'm going to figure one out. So it says keep looking up. There may be a rainbow waiting for you. In case you didn't know, that's what it said. And I'm going to try and get the color back off the top where I just went over a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry really, really well. And then I am going to get a coat of resin on it, and I am definitely going to use a cheat glitter in the top coat on this because I think it'll help cover up some of the rough spots especially, and just give it a little more sparkle. So not really a pass, not really a fail on the iron-on decals. I do have another one, that giant flamingo, that I wasn't really crazy about, but I may do that one somewhere down the road over top of resin just to see if it's different on the resin than over the paint. But it's not terrible. It's a cool cup. Somebody will like it out there. Hopefully. I will be back to get the resin on. Okay, I am ready to get resin on this one. I had some mixed up already with some diamond dust in it, but I'm going to mix up a bit more and add some more dust. So put more resin in there. It's Diamond Dust Girl's Best Friend from IPP. Just a fun additive. It's super, super fine. as the word dust would imply, I have a mixing stick somewhere here. I think it was this one, but I'm going to get that mixed in there. Okay, that should be good, and I am just going to get her coated. This is KS Resin Liquid Stone I am using for this coat. Oh my gosh, I just knocked her so crooked again. There. Sparkle fixes everything, right? We got one rogue actual glitter in here, of course. Oh, really, the back side of this looks. It's got so many swirls in it. Came out very cool. I think I got that glitter off my image at least. So I'm going to make sure I'm coated and then get these gloves off. That glitter keeps coming back. I'll get my glove off so I can take you down for a close-up. And because I am done for a minute, I mixed up a ton of resin. I'm going to prop this turner. I'm just torching it real quick to let it smooth out a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to bring you down, let you see it. It actually ended up looking pretty darn cool. With the diamond dust, you really can't so much see that paint. But look at this back. Look at these cool swirls. Isn't that awesome? That's why I picked this side, because I really like that side. But I mean, that kind of blended right back out. So I am actually really thrilled with the result of this in the long run. Watch that decal to come around just one more time. And then that is it for this one. Thanks for watching.